Boys and girls, this is the Undisputed Era. Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly.
Hello, Steve. Hello, Larson. It's me, Dexter Lumis, NXT Superstar. So here's my shout out to the Going In Raw podcast. Clever name.
Hey, friendo, Steve here.
And Larson.
Yeah, welcome back to Going In Raw, the only pro wrestling podcast you need to be listening to right here at youtube.com/Steve and Larson, available wherever podcasts can be found, and of course taped live at the Twitch at twitch.tv/Steve and Larson. For the live crowd, I just sent out the Steve Notes, so if you're subbed to the channel, you can follow along using Steve Notes. NXT, the Dusty Cup Classic, officially started, and we got the debut of MSK, the team of
It's the Rascalz.
Wesley and Nash Carter, formerly known as the Rascalz, Zachary Wentz and Desmond Xavier.
Desmond Xavier. Which were great names. Those are great names.
I
don't know, like Wesley. I mean, Nash Carter. Sometimes NXT, assuming that these are NXT choices. I don't know how much to say Wesley and Nash Carter had these new names. Sometimes NXT does not pick good names for people.
Don't they usually? I mean, traditionally WWE will. It's when they're choosing new names, it's like a collaborative process. Like Finn Balor's, we know, was like, he was able to explain. And then I'm pretty sure they've been able to have some input. So I am kind of curious what the origin of Nash Carter, which sounds like Nash,
like a Don
Bridges.
Johnson, Don Johnson cop show.
Yeah.
And Wesley, I'm like, really? You take Wesley and just break it apart into just two syllables and make a name out of it.
So his name is, we're supposed to understand his name is Wesley Lee. His parents did that to him?
Yeah, Wesley Lee, yeah. And then so they have a new name. This is like really the first time that I was like, why not just, unless Impact owns the trademark for the Rascalz, which I don't think they do because they were the Rascalz on the Indie and PWG. Right. Like, I don't know. Because they were trying to toe this line of really hyping them up as this huge hot deal in wrestling without acknowledging anything they've ever done in the past.
Yeah, I know.
And I was like, okay, choose, like, you want them to debut and have an impact. If that's the case, like, I'm not that familiar with their work. I know the names. Mm-hmm. I know who they are. Mm-hmm. I know their reputation.
Yeah.
So if you're going to debut them and expect me to think they're hot stuff, then you got to give me something. You got to give me at least some reference to their past, whether it's their names, whether it's referring more directly to something they've done other than saying, wow, look at these hot new free agents we signed. And then like 2 sentences later, look at these complete unknowns making a name for themselves in NXT. Which way is it going to be? And if you're going to debut them as complete unknowns, then I want to know what MSK means. I have no clue.
What does it mean? What does MSK mean?
I don't know. Why am I supposed to care?
Murder, steal,
if they're the Rascalz, if it's Zachary Wentz, if it's Desmond Xavier, like I said, I know who they are. I'm not that familiar with the work. Being completely honest, I know who they are. I know their reputation. I would be excited to see them.
What's the line? What is the criteria where Matt Riddle comes in and he gets to be Matt Riddle? Keith Lee comes in, he gets to be Keith Lee, but the Rascalz come in and they don't get to be the Rascalz, and they don't get to be Desmond Xavier, and they don't get to be Zachary Wentz. What's the line?
I don't know.
What is it?
I don't know.
There's a lot. I mean, the Rascalz is a great name. I don't know what MSK stands for.
I don't know either. A couple people here in chat mentioned that Vic did say something about these Rascalz are all over or something like that. I get it. He made a passing reference to their previous.
It's always so wink and a nudge.
I know.
And it's dude. Listen, it's one of the thing, and we could do a 10 for the win or a count out on the weird things that WWE does, because they do weird things like this. Like, oh yeah, you have to rebrand and we're gonna dance around everything you've done. Like Samoa Joe, all I know about him is before WWE, he comes in, he's like 45 years old, and before that He traveled the world.
Won titles all over the world.
Well, plenty of people out of college did that too.
Yeah,
But why does that matter?
At least he got to keep the name that he built his career on, you know?
Which is another thing. He got to keep the name. Why don't you talk about his time in Impact Wrestling? Or TNA or whatever.
Yeah, I know. Or Ring of Honor, yeah.
It's just one of those weird things that, you know, it all goes back to wrestling doesn't exist outside the WWE. But the problem is too many people do exist outside the WWE, and then the WWE wants them and they bring them in, and it doesn't fly anymore to just rebrand them as like a dentist or something.
And I think also too is maybe, I don't know, 20 years ago, you know, you maybe do with WWE and WCW, you know, your average wrestling fan. Yeah, a lot of people watch ECW. A lot of people pay attention to what was going on in the indies, even, you know, back then. And I think just now your average wrestling fan who watches the product on a regular basis knows a lot more about the full breadth and width of going on in the wrestling world, and to ignore what these people have done outside of WWE is ridiculous. White Brownie just says they probably didn't want to hand over the Rascalz name to him. They don't hand it over. They license the name, assuming they have the trademark for it. Yeah. They license the name, just like AJ Styles did, just like Samoa Joe did. Yeah. You license your names, and during the term of your contract, WWE will handle all the merchandising and stuff like that, you know? But once your contract's up, poof, you get that back.
I do wonder, though, like on that line of reasoning, I do wonder if that's maybe why WWE will start, and I guess depending on the name, will start going back to, like, dude, if Guerrillas of Destiny decide to sign back with WWE, it's not going to be like, you know, whatever they're going to call Tama Tonga and Camacho, is it?
No.
I don't think, because like Gallows came back and he was Gallows, he wasn't Festus.
Yeah.
That would have been hilarious.
There's apparently a line, which I don't know if it's you know, outside WWE you achieve a certain amount of success, and it just benefits WWE more to refer you to whatever name you were prior, as opposed to like the Rascalz. They were Impact Tag Champs, they were PWG Tag Champs. They've won tag team championships all over the place,
all over the world.
You know, all over the world, and it's not like Impact is like some little podunk company. They're on national television. People know who they are.
Yeah.
So, but like if you want to have a clean slate, fine, do that. But you got to give me some background. You got to build up anticipation for these guys debuting this new gimmick, this new name. At least, a Peachy Tree says they are currently the PWG Tag Champs.
Yeah, okay.
So
give me some,
do some vignettes. Give me an idea who these guys are on this reset.
Yeah.
And if you're not going to do that, then bring them in under the names that I know. So at least I have something to latch onto. Right now, I have absolutely nothing to latch onto in terms of what they are in NXT. Nothing.
Yeah, Anthony F here in chat says they do it so often. I'm just conditioned as weird shit, so I don't really care. And I am with you on that one. I'm with him on that one. Like I don't care, but the points you're making are sound, and it is infuriating.
You know, I think to a certain extent, I've been conditioned because I think it's been kind of established. If you're a certain point, you got to keep your name. Yeah. If you're not, you don't. You know.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
But usually, when you don't keep your name, you know, they'll debut you. You get some vignettes. You know, you might make a certain amount of impact, but usually they kind of start from scratch. Whereas this time they wanted us to think, oh wow, MSK is here, we should be really excited, just based on how their spot in the Dusty Classic was announced, how commentary was reacting to them.
Yeah.
But then you're not giving me anything that I know I can latch onto with them.
There really should have been some, you know how they do those graphics, you know, where they'll have like somebody's logo and is like is coming or something like that.
Yeah.
Like lead up to it, build up the anticipation so that when it says MSK is coming and you have like, you know, maybe it looks like some weed smoke or something, you know. And I don't know how far they're going to go with that aspect of things. If they're going to do, I mean, they went pretty far with Matt Riddle, so it makes me think that if they wanted to go down that route, they could still go down that route. They could
at least allude to it, yes.
And so you build up to it, so you know, oh, MSK. Then people on the internet can start like, oh, what are they all about? You know, oh, it's the Rascalz. Okay, it's these guys. I think like the names are so cheesy. I don't know what the story with the names are. I mean, maybe they have some personal connection.
And that's the case. And that's the case. You know, I won't be too hard on him. But it's just I don't know. You see the names, you're like, are the names they used to have? That happens. I mean, it seems like a pattern in NXT where someone have like a really cool name, like Shane Strickland's an awesome name.
Yeah,
that's an awesome name. And then maybe Swerve, Isaiah Scott. I think he said there's some connection to him and that's why he chose.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's an instance where he achieved a good measure of success out in the independents himself. Shane Strickland's a great name.
Yeah,
and I've gotten used to Isaiah Swerve Scott, but
I just call him Swerve Scott, which I actually kind of prefer over Shane Strickland.
But in my mind, he's still Shane Strickland,
Yeah, I just in my mind he's just Swerve Scott now because Swerve is actually really cool. Swerve is actually really fun.
Well, Swerve is something he had even to Shane Strickland.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. So yeah, I don't know. I don't want to piss all over their debut though because they had a really fantastic show.
No, it's not. I don't. It's not something I'm trying to lay the blame on them for. I think it's just an NXT thing.
Yeah, but I know. But it's also like when Keith Lee debuts on main roster and like, he can't control the fact that they took away his music and people piss all over that. They had a really, really fantastic showing.
They did have a good showing, yeah.
Looking at the brackets again, let me see if I can actually bring up the brackets properly now. Let's see here. Brackets. It would be fun to sort of talk about to kick things off. So it's clear that MSK are going to make it to at least the semifinals against, I would assume, Imperium, because they're the biggest team coming out of that. Legado del Fantasma is probably going to end up with a heel versus heel thing with Imperium, and then it'll be Imperium versus MSK. I'm assuming MSK is going to go on to the finals. At this point, I would kind of be shocked if MSK didn't win. I mean, in my opinion, it's either going to be MSK versus Grizzled Young Veterans or The Way.
It's going to be MSK and Grizzled Young Veterans. I feel like. Because at a certain point, Lorcan and Birch and Peter Dune are going to cost Undisputed Era match. That seems.
The way things went this week with that match, Breezango got treated like crap. Adam Cole was completely and totally distracted by Pete Dunne ramming his knee into Kyle O'Reilly's jaw, ate a super kick, and then Undisputed Era still ended up pulling off that win pretty easily towards the finish there.
Yeah.
But yeah, we had some more developments on NXT this week. Definitely looks like Kushida's going to be probably taking on John for the North American title. Kushida would look amazing with that North American title. That's the one reason why I would give maybe The Way a path to the Dusty Cup thing, because they really seem to like The Way, and I could totally see him getting him in Theory, who was great this week, and Candice being the Dusty Cup winners. If they're not going to be like title winners at the same time, I could see them being maybe Dusty Cup.
But the same thing, though, you could say, well, they're not going to be both title winners at the same time. Candice gets the Dusty Cup with Indy. John has a North American title.
Yeah. That totally could be him.
That's just the vibe I'm getting from it. I'm guessing. I'm saying Grizzled Young Veterans and MSK in the finals.
So it kicked off with Shotzi Blackheart versus Candice LeRae. They're sort of settling this now, I guess, in advance of the Dusty Cup happening.
Oh, they'll
might advance it more.
They'll get back to it in the Dusty Cup for sure.
This is a fun match though. Shotzi started off strong. Indy Hartwell's distracting all over the place, letting Candice get the upper hand early. Shotzi hit a suicide dive on both of them, but in the end, Shotzi goes up to the top, probably for a senton. Indy comes at her. Shotzi punches her off, and then Candice is able to recover, hits like a top rope spinning neck breaker to get the win.
Miss LeRae's Wild Ride or something like that.
Yeah.
It's cool shit. She had the best ride at Disneyland.
I have no argument with that one.
Mr. Toad.
I don't know if none of the rides at Disneyland really excite me all that much.
Oh, Space Mountain's a lot of fun. That's a pretty fast roller coaster.
Woo!
I'm not even a huge roller coaster guy, so.
I'm not a big fan of roller coasters, man.
No, I'm not at all.
Feet on the ground.
No, literally, if I'm on a roller coaster and I don't have something to put my feet on underneath me, I'm not going to do it.
Not into it.
Like I've been on.
What's the worry there? What is the concern there? Legs are going to get lopped off?
No, it's just a feeling of stability and a measure of control that when my feet are just dangling. I remember when I met up with Hilton and another friend of ours at a Magic Mountain once.
Yeah.
And I think it's called X. And it's a roller coaster where you're just sitting in a chair, and not only your legs dangling, that thing spins. Your seat spins.
Oh, yeah.
And it's super high.
Oh, yeah.
And I almost quit roller coasters after that, just full stop.
Wow.
Because it was miserable, just utterly miserable.
Oh gosh. Oh man.
I don't like heights to begin with, but I'm up there, 60, 70 feet in the air, legs dangling off this chair with just this harness keep me from between me and certain death. And then I'm spinning around all over the place. No, thank you.
Don't pick a fight with gravity, man.
Exactly.
Gravity will win every time.
That's why I feel like if there's something under my feet,
yeah.
I just feel a little more secure. I'm not going to just fall off randomly.
Very uncomfortable feeling. Another uncomfortable feeling is Finn Balor staring into the camera for an uncomfortably long period of time, which he did prior to his promo last night. He says he's still champion. He notes the date, pays his respect to Kyle O'Reilly, but says he's not at Finn's level. He says whoever wants to step to Finn, they stopped manufacturing the cloth I am cut from. After that, Peter Dune, Oni Lorcan, and Daniel Birch.
Daniel Birch, yes.
They interrupt. Dunn says, you know what's next. I've been watching my whole career knowing we'd fight one day. It'd come down to me and you. The only reason you have that NXT title is because I haven't taken it yet. I'm not waiting anymore. They jump Finn. He fights them off pretty easily, actually, and then eventually he can't. Dunn comes in, cranks his arm. The rest of them hop in. Kyle O'Reilly comes to Finn's aid. The rest of the Undisputed Era run in. They jump them, run off. They run off the formerly known as the McAfee Foundation.
So Finn's totally joining Undisputed Era, yeah?
Yeah, sure. Bobby Fish, who knows how long he's going to be gone. They'll do that, I guess.
Yeah, maybe after that we have John interview. He says that Shotzi, after losing the opening bout, got what she deserved. And then when he beats Dexter Lumis tonight, it's going to be smooth sailing for the way in the Dusty Cup. They're going to win both those trophies. They start making excuses as to why he got pinned by Kushida last week. Austin Theory rolls in. He's got an envelope in hand. And John is like, John. It's like, what?
This was great. Austin Theory is my new favorite.
Like, I got a gift for you. He hands on the envelope.
Gift? It's from that guy. Who, Lumis?
That guy.
Yeah, that guy.
And so John opens up the envelope, and inside is some art from Lumis. One's a drawing of John, and the other one is a drawing of Austin Theory holding his front area after he got shot in the balls.
And Gargano is crying in his drawing, and then Theory's holding his dick after getting shot, and there's just this little arrow pointing at him. It says "idiot," and he points to it, and sort of you can see his lips say "idiot." And he's like, "Oh, I don't like that. That's so mean. You better kick his ass tonight, Johnny." Austin Theory cracks me. He is so Dirk Diggler these days. It's hilarious.
100%.
Yeah, that guy. After that, more guys who really tickle my fancy. Grizzled young veterans have a match against Everrise, but prior to that, we get one of those wonderful Zach Gibson promos, and he says, "Last year, we made our debut in the Dusty Classic. This year, we're looking for more. I'm sorry to the dweebs who entered themselves in this tournament, dreaming of success, and the absolute creatures in attendance praying for an upset tonight. 2021 is our year. We are grizzled young veterans, soon to be recognized as Dusty Cup winners, and soon to be recognized as the next NXT Tag Champions." Oh, I love his promos so much. I love them so much.
Yeah, he's got good energy. So then Regal pops up on the Tron, says, "This is Dusty Classic. Let the tournament begin."
Oh, really? I didn't see that. That's funny.
Yeah. He just pops up the Tron. It's like, so we got the Dusty Cup here, and let the tournament commence.
Oh, that's cool.
Early on, this bit was great. So James Drake was kind of getting worked over by Everrise. He was getting upset about it. He was hot.
Yeah.
He was angry. And Zach Gibson pulls him out of the ring and tries to calm him down. but it worked for a bit because then Grizzled Young Veterans goes on a pretty good run. They're isolating Chase Parker. At one point, though, he drags Drake to his own corner. Martel's then. He goes on a run. Chase Parker's back in. They hit a bunch of double-team offense. Gibson breaks up that pin. Everrise hits a bunch more double-team offense on Gibson. Eventually, Gibson pulls Parker out of the ring. Martel grabs him up on the apron, starts brawling with him. Drake drop kicks Martel in the back, and then Grizzled Young Veterans hit Ticket to Mayhem for the win. Soon.
God, I hope they win this whole thing. I'm so pulling for them. I need to find some Grizzled Young Veteran merchandise.
You find one of their scarves
on a rocket. After that, we had a pretty cool Raquel Gonzalez promo video type thing. She says, "What a difference a year can make. Rhea Ripley is like 2020, a bad memory we're all trying to forget. I'm looking ahead at Io Shirai in the NXT Women's Championship. There's a new baddest bee in town." Raquel Gonzalez. Why did I? Oh, that's funny.
What?
Apparently, I gave that promo 2.5 stars.
Wow.
I meant to give that to the Grizzled Young Veterans.
It was a much better promo than 2.5 stars.
I don't grade promos.
After that, we had a Shotzi Blackheart interview. She's asked about how disappointed she is in the outcome of that match that began the show. Says it wasn't the outcome she was hoping for, but she's not going to whine about it because she's looking for history. Become the first winner of the Women's Dusty Cup. She needs a partner. Someone she could trust, someone that she knows has her back. Ember Moon walks in, and she says, "You must be talking about me." She talks about an opportunity to make history. They're going to go balls to the wall, and she says to all the competitors, she's going to enforce Ember's law, and they're going to put their names on that trophy.
After that, we had Johnny Gargano
John
versus Dexter Lumis. Austin Theory keeps, again, this sort of played out the same way as the Candice match did, where, you know, the Austin Theory tries to distract Lumis a bunch of times. At one point towards the finish, Lumis grabs Theory. This is a really fun match, though. Like, John can put on a fun match with pretty much anybody, and it really highlighted Lumis's more quirky, you know, personality bits that he does in the ring.
Yeah.
So towards the finish, Lumis grabs Theory in silence, or he tries to lock him in silence. Theory's on the apron, and so Gargano goes to roll up Lumis, and he's got it locked on, so that ends up kind of suplexing Theory into the ring. But John is able to get the pin, the roll pin for
preceding that, it was Lumis had silence locked in on John. He had it locked in, then Austin gets on the apron, and Dexter, rather than just holding on to silence on John, he lets go to go after Austin Theory.
Yeah. So afterwards, Lumis attacks. Theory makes the bad mistake of getting near the apron and not looking behind him and seeing that Lumis is there. So Lumis locks on silence, or tries to lock on silence. Gargano makes a save, gets a chair. Before he can use it, he's attacked by Kushida, who locks in the hoverboard lock. Theory tries to help him. He gets locked into silence from Lumis. And then Kushida gets up and he sort of inspects the North American title. Johnny's sort of there in the corner, and Kushida puts his arm like this, and he just sort of stares at him and make weird faces at him.
We get a brief Pete Dunne, Oney Lorcan, Daniel Burch interview backstage. Burch says they run this place. Pete Dunne adds that Kyle O'Reilly put himself between Pete Dunne and the NXT title, so it's time to take him out of the way.
Out.
After that, we have Wade Barrett with the sit-down chat with Tommaso Ciampa, Timothy Thatcher. Thatcher being very evasive about the nature of his injury, which makes sense. You don't want to give your opponent a target for this fight pit match.
The targeted.
So he's asked, and Thatcher says, "I'm cleared. I'm good to go." And then Ciampa's like, "Hey, don't tell me what this injury was." Looking to get an advantage, and Thatcher says, "It's nothing that's going to change the outcome of the fight pit." And so Ciampa's asked, "Why did you request fight pit? Was that a mistake?" Ciampa says, "Maybe. But I've been talking about changing the culture in the locker room, and sometimes that means going into enemy territory." So they're asked about the animosity between the two of them. Thatcher says, "I got no beef. Ciampa came after me." And Ciampa brings up again, Thatcher taking liberties with students. Says, "As a wrestler, you're fine. As a teacher, you're garbage." He says, Ciampa says, "I'll take every liberty I can in that fight pit." And then Thatcher they talk about animals after that. Thatcher says he is a different animal. He's like Manimal in the fight pit. Says Ciampa looks like a man who's questioning if he still got it. Ciampa says, "You got no idea what kind of man I am." Something about questions, and then at the fight pit, you'll get your answers.
I wish I would have done this interview standing up so you could see just how much of a beast Wade Barrett is compared to both these guys.
That's probably what they did it sitting down. He's probably got a good 6 inches on.
That's exactly
on
why they did it. Yeah. I love Thatcher. He's got like a really great weird cadence to his voice. Like he sounds kind of like Ed Edwards, not of Impact, serial killer. And I don't know, there's something very like he's got that camera charisma that's so great. I'm looking forward to this fight pit match, man.
Yeah.
I hope they give Thatcher a fucking win, though.
I mean, it's his match.
It is his match. You think that, but it's like a pretty brutal match.
Yeah. After that Undisputed Era interview, they're asked, you worried about Peter Dune, O'Neal Lorcan, Daniel Burch get involved tonight? Cole says they've had people coming after them their whole careers. They've dealt with it and taught them lessons. Roddy's like, they want to get involved? Sure, bring it on. Kyle O'Reilly says, we got each other's backs. I'll be ringside to keep the peace. And Cole, it's like, yeah, we got tons of respect for Breezango, but we're going to advance. That's undisputed.
After that, we had the Jake Atlas and Swerve Scott versus MSK, Nash Carter, and Wes Lee. And yeah, I mean, it's a really fun match. They got to showcase, MSK got to showcase against two guys who really know how to go in the ring. They got to showcase their cool stuff, like the sort of assisted moonsault thing.
That moonsault with the push in midair is pretty cool. I hadn't seen that before. Their finisher is cool, that kind of spine buster, blockbuster combo.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. Yeah. So yeah, they end up winning, but a really, really fun match, fast paced, all that kind of stuff,
and fairly competitive. And I thought it was kind of interesting they would have Swerve and Jake Atlas team up, considering they had just been kind of feuding, but that would play out later on.
Yeah. After that, we had a video for the Women's Dusty Cup participants. First batch of them.
I'm guessing this is the field. I don't know if this is the entire field, but I mean,
you think
there's 4 teams?
There's 4 teams. It's going to be a mini tournament, like a
maybe.
Okay, yeah.
I don't know.
Did they announce all? They didn't announce all the teams when they announced. So
maybe they'll have more teams. I hope so.
I'm trying to think of other. I mean, Io's not going to be in it. Raquel's going after Io.
Yeah. So the announced teams so far are Candice and Indy. We knew that. Casey Catanzaro, Caden Carter, Tony Storm, Mercedes Martinez, and then Shotzi and Ember.
After that, we had Scarlett.
Well, actually, it's kind of surprising that Dakota Kai and Raquel aren't a team.
That's a good point. She's not injured, is she?
Not that I'm aware of.
She just got locked in a locker. Maybe she's still in the locker.
Could be that she tweeted that she was still in the locker.
I mean, who else is there? I feel like they used to have a lot of people. Rhea's gone, probably. Anyways. Scarlett had a little video package thing. First, she was talking. I know she knows. I forget what the other language she knows is. But she knows another language. So she was speaking in that. And then she started speaking in English. She's engaged in some sort of like tarot card, sex magic type situation with some cheesy Spirit Halloween decorations next to her, like little plastic skull things. And she declares they're after the prince. So, man, you got Peter Dune coming after the prince straight on. You got sex magic happening over here, which is probably going to be the one that eventually takes that title off him.
Oh, absolutely.
What a bummer. Like, I don't want him around. Like, Pete Dunne, that's the guy.
Yeah, no. I mean, honestly, that's the guy I'd like to see get that title off Finn, because Pete Dunne's great.
He's great. He's great. You know what's even better about Pete Dunne, too, is that he's a 5-star wrestler. He's an actual wrestler who can wrestle really good and have really great matches in the ring, which is kind of important when you're talking about professional wrestling. Just saying.
All right. Next up, Xia Li versus Valentina Feroz. The match lasted about as long as it took me to announce competitors in it.
Did they say her name? When did
I had
they
to
say
go
her
on.
name?
I had to go on WWE.com because I didn't hear it. I had to go because I want to make sure I get the name.
Well, that was
so.
Nice
I think Xia Li gets a couple strikes, hits her spin kick to get the win.
This was it. It was 2 things. And it was kind of weird because Xia Li has like this long entrance, and it's great. She looks amazing, and her entrance is great. All that stuff is awesome. So, like, she gets in there with her opponent. Her opponent rushes at her, and Xia Li, like, hits a right. But, like, it's kind of off, and the girl falls as opposed to sells it. And Vic Joseph is in the middle of saying something, and a good 3 seconds after the girl falls, he says, "Oh my gosh, look at that right." I was like, what, is the audio off by like 3 seconds or something? Because he sold it way after the fact because it was the lone pre-finish move in the match. The opponent gets up, and then she gets hit with that kick, and that's it. That's the entire match. Kind of a wonky squash match, to be honest with you. It was just a really weird one.
Interesting. So, anyways, after the match, I don't know, the mysterious woman is on the top of the ramp, and she's
the master.
directing, Xia Li to beat up Valentina some more, and she does. She
does the open fist, and so Xia punches her a bunch, wraps her on the ropes, and then she does this. This means the kill shot, and then Xia Li kills her.
Well, no, that wouldn't happen on NXT.
Takes her head off. After that, we had Casey Catanzaro and Caden Carter doing a promo. Basically, they're used to being overlooked. Don't do that. Or no, sorry, keep doing that. And then watch us leave a legacy. And Casey says, we're going to be the first ever Dusty Cup winners. They're going to be taking on Tony Storm and Mercedes Martinez.
They're shock the world.
No, they're not. They should, because they're great. They're terrific. They're really good.
I thought Caden Carter was really good in this promo bit. Not that Casey wasn't, but I thought like Caden Carter was really good.
I thought she was really, really good. I think Casey's coming along.
Yeah.
But they were given, it comes off like they were given zero direction. They've been a tag team for a little while now, and it's kind of unsettling that they have not been given like a direction to go into.
I know.
Because they looked like they were just making this up on the spot. But
if that's the case, it was pretty solid for something they just made up on the spot.
Yeah, it was okay. During commercial, we're back from commercial. There was a brawl backstage between Atlas and Swerve because they lost and they never really liked each other in the first place. Bronson gets in the middle of it. That is amazing. Your camera just froze on that face. That's beautiful. I couldn't have asked for a better freeze. Am I still
trying to act like they're on the same page? Oh, I froze. What?
Waiting. There we go. Okay, we're caught up.
All right.
We're caught up.
All right, very well.
I always wait. I always give it a second.
Yeah.
Because like before I jump the gun and you'd be like,
yeah.
So.
No, I know something happened because I said a whole sentence and then you didn't respond to it. I was like, all right, I'm about to freeze on his end, or I'm frozen on his end.
Yeah, I know it sucks. Like I'm the one in control here. So whenever anything weird happens, it just looks like it's you, even though it's not you. It's just the connection.
Yeah.
Anyways,
I mean, 90% of the time the internet holds pretty good for us, but that 10%.
Oh, it's like less than that. Yeah, but it looks. It was a great shot that you were on though, because you go like this. You went because I started to say Bronson Reed gets involved, and you go. And then he just stayed there. So anyways, yeah, Bronson Reed gets involved. You probably mentioned this during your time in the negative zone. And he says to Swerve, "Cool it." And Swerve's like, "Why are you taking his side?" And he's like, "I said, cool it." And then Swerve walks away.
Yeah.
And then we had our main event, Undisputed Era versus Breezango. Really physical match. Really good stuff between these two teams. And then formerly known as the McAfee group come down. Kyle O'Reilly attacks them. They attack him, sort of put him up against like one of the trusses there and threaten to, mess up his jaw again. Finn makes the save, but Dunn's running knee against Kyle O'Reilly's jaw against the barricade causes Adam Cole to get distracted, which leads to the Undisputed Era picking up the win.
Yeah, so he hits a super kick from Breeze. Walks right into it, and then Breezango puts Adam Cole up top. Roddy then knees Breeze out of the ring. Cole goes for Panama Sunrise on Fandango. Fandango reverses that. He goes up top, I guess, to look for the leg drop, leaps off. He eats a super kick from Adam Cole.
Yeah, really fun stuff. But yeah, boy, they couldn't make Breezango look worse.
I know.
Anyways, why don't we go ahead and answer some questions here?
Sounds good. O-Dog here on the Twitch says, I think the idea with Xia Li's punch is that her strike was so quick and effective that it caught everyone off guard, which is why her opponent was TKO'd.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean to harp on it. I mean, not everybody's going to be, crisp. But Alex Foster, what is Everrise's ceiling in all of WWE? I mean, Everrise. I can see they've got the personality. They got the in-ring stuff. They could go all the way. They could be tag champs, like on any brand.
They just need to put some wins together.
Put some wins. Well, yeah. I mean, it's just for them. It's going to be time to get the audience to know them, to get behind them. They'll get a call up because they have that main roster thing, you know. And yeah, I mean,
put him in a faction with Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens really likes him.
That'd be amazing. That'd be great. I mean, they want to make sure they don't get too deep into comedy territory because that usually doesn't pay off for anybody. But if they can keep their personality and edge, and so they can, get the crowd behind them, and then keep up with the good in-ring stuff, then the sky's the limit for those guys.
Yeah. Anthony, with how entertaining The Way is, how would you book them leading up to an eventual breakup? Well, I guess eventually Austin Theory would have to actually start learning something sitting under John's learning tree and start wisening up to some things, realize he's being taken advantage of, and stand up for himself.
I think it would maybe be interesting to see him and Indy come to that realization together and sort of defect, against the team of Johnny and Candice.
John. Night by night, if you're looking to buy property, which NXT superstar would you most trust as your real estate agent? Now, Samoa Joe is still there. I think he was a mortgage, not same as a real estate agent, but I think he was a mortgage processor before he became a full-time wrestler, I think.
Let's keep it kayfabe. Kayfabe.
Sure.
I mean, we know Dexter Lumis owns a house, but also he doesn't talk, so it'd be difficult. The Garganos own a home, but they're also kind of assholes, so I'm not sure I'd trust them.
NXT superstar, huh?
Is there anybody like mellow or laid back? I mean, I don't know if Cole Rents.
Kyle O'Reilly seems like a pretty mellow dude.
He seems pretty cool, but has he ever purchased a home? Does he know anything about the process?
Well, I don't know if anybody really. I mean, the process is different when you buy as opposed to when you're trying to sell. There's all that paperwork you got to do when you're an agent that we decide.
What's the question again?
If you were looking to buy property, which NXT superstar would you most trust as your real estate agent? So they have to handle the negotiations. They have to handle doing all the paperwork. They have to handle going out and finding houses for you to look at.
I'd go with Zach Gibson. He seemed very knowledgeable about the lay of the land in Liverpool. And maybe now that he's in Orlando, he is endeavoring to become Orlando's number one tour guide as well.
I'm going to say Tyler Breeze, who's been in NXT forever. If anybody knows Orlando, it's going to be good. Tyler Breeze.
Yeah, it's good. We met him. Super cool guy.
Oh,
really
super
chill.
Nice guy.
And also strategic thinking because of his success in the brand v brand stuff on Up, Up, Down, Down.
Yep.
The GM stuff. Yeah. That's a good answer. Let's see here. Gregory Fiella. Do you think Peter Dunne has a chance to win the NXT title so his group can have all the titles?
Not right now.
I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon.
He should at some point, but not right now.
It'd be great.
A big puffed rice says ratings friendos AEW 762,000. Ooh, 31st in the demo. That's pretty low for them. Then NXT 551,000. Oof. 70th in the demo.
70. They track that far down.
I guess so.
Yeah. Well, what was the competition like last night? I mean, there's a lot of shit going on in cable news. So
I know.
I mean, that's kind of
the
a
whole
big deal.
impeachment thing. I'm sure that
exactly.
has some people watching the news. So
probably.
So
let's see here. Colin Branch, Everrise and grizzled young veterans have been doing a lot to make me care about NXT's tag division lately. That's true. Do you think the Dusty Classic can make people start to care again? If the ratings are to be believed, no. But as a fan of NXT, yeah, it's nice to see that they're doing a Dusty Classic. So yeah.
So I'm looking at the ratings for last night, and the top 15 spots are all cable news.
Yeah.
And then the next between 16 and 20, 3 of those 5 are cable news.
Mm-hmm.
And then from 21 to 25, again, 3 of the 5. So yeah, it's virtually all cable news.
Yeah, dude. People
with a couple exceptions. There's some basketball games, a couple hockey games.
How well did Newsmax do last night in the cable rate?
Not listed. It's mostly CNN. CNN took the top 10 spots.
Yeah, man. D Lemon and
Top
Cuomo.
12. Well, actually,
12,
Cuomo's
okay.
further down. He was 28th. Cuomo primetime.
Was it just like headline stuff?
Situation Room, Jake Tapper, Anderson Cooper, Aaron Burnett.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, sorry, Cuomo. The 9 p.m. hour is number 7. My apologies. And then just a bunch of special coverage.
Yeah, it's hard to it's hard to compete these days with when history's being made literally every single day.
Yep.
It's hard to compete with that.
Yep.
It's like 1968 all over again. Sleazy Mo, which NXT wrestlers should start a feud with Wade Barrett?
Zach Gibson.
Oh, wow. That's a great name. What a good one. That's good.
Shane's birthday tweet in kayfabe, how would Dakota get out of the locker without help from Raquel? Yeah, she just was vocal and saying, hey, I'm in this locker. Someone would eventually hear it or
Somebody
walk by.
would come by. One of the NXT interns or Performance Center recruits. Yeah. Do you know, speaking of which, do you know the origin of why all trunks have inside latches now?
Oh, you mean like car trunks?
Mm-hmm.
I'm guessing some people don't get locked in them.
Some people got kidnapped and they were able to escape eventually, but they didn't have, I think maybe is because their car was one of the few that did have a latch, and then they lobbied the government to make it mandatory. So now every trunk that's manufactured in a car has an inside latch.
It's good. Gareth Nicholas, what do you think MSK should stand for?
Men who smoke Kush.
Can't top that. Or chronic.
Yeah, men smoke chronic. Man smoke chronic.
Dang MQ, Walter versus A-Kid was really good. To check that out.
Yeah, I wonder who won that one. Lubricant Horn. I thought that was going to be like a NXT takeover, UK takeover or something. They seem really high on A-Kid, but no, you're not me. I beat you now.
Walter, man, I know it's going to be Ilya in front of fans. That's the only person I think on the roster right now that can beat. That's going to be Walter.
Lubricant Hornet. Shotzi. I'm not going to talk about that. The Glorious Broken Sound Wave. Oh, then they already said that one. Okay.
All right.
So I'm all out of questions here on the
All right, I'm just trying to do something. Says it should remain on NXT, but wouldn't a Dusty Classic Invitational be great? And what is one team from Raw and SmackDown you would like to see? That would be cool.
Raw.
I mean, technically, Lucha House Party are on the Raw. They're part of the Raw roster.
Yeah.
And they're in the tournament.
I would want to see the team of, whenever they're done with this feud of theirs, Ricochet and Mustafa Ali. That's what I'd want to see from Raw.
All right.
On SmackDown, the Dirty Dogs.
I want to see the Usos in NXT.
I want to see the Dirty Dogs.
All right, very well. Jonathan says, I want to see Samoa Joe, but as Guy Fieri.
Oh, what a great idea. I could see that.
Joe's going to Flavortown.
Yeah, absolutely.
White Brownie, are the chances slim for NXT to be in the Rumble this year? Probably. Getting all the pandemic stuff, probably.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Lubricant Hornet, I'll talk about your question when we're done with the actual show on Twitch.
GR Fox 8 with the sub. Thank you very much. Tony V says Zach Gibson would sell you a crap house and try to sell it as good.
Who would?
Gibson.
Oh. He'd say no doors, ropes. You got to watch Stathlets Flats, man. You got to turn on the subtitles, but goddamn, it's funny.
I guess I do. Crossface Chicken Stain, fantasy booking here. MVP should extend his Hurt Business brand to NXT. Who should be his first client, and why is it Swerve?
Yeah, I mean, Swerve fits the bill.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's one of those things where he's great and everything, but like, give me Jake Atlas with an edge. Give me Jake Atlas as an asshole. Have him join Hurt Business.
Patrick Oliva, Brian Myers versus Josh Alexander has been added to the pre-show of Hard to Kill. So there is a pre-show match.
Wow, they have a pre-show. Wow. That's awesome. Good for them.
I guess we got to do predictions for that tomorrow, huh?
Yeah, man. Big Gold up on the line for what? What do you? Okay, we'll talk about this, and I don't want to get it here on the show.
Why don't put the Impact title? We literally have a belt that says Impact on it.
I don't want to get in it. I don't want to because really Big Gold's for all non-WWE. We discussed that already.
We haven't really discussed all non-WWE. It was just for AEW. That's what it initially was.
And New Japan, we said that. Okay,
we'll talk about it. But anyways, I think we have a belt with Impact. We should be for Impact predictions.
No, that was a gift from Rich. You haven't put
Big Red was literally a gift as well. So was Big Gold.
But then we both collaboratively decided to put that on the line.
Well, I'm just suggesting we do the same.
But I'm not agreeing to the Impact one. All right. Thanks for watching, everybody. Till next time, we'll talk to you later.
Goodbye.
Help support Going In Raw today by becoming a Friendo Club TV member. You'll get access to new bonus episodes every week, including Friendo Club Arcade, Live Power Rank, Vintage 10 for the Wins, and Ask Steve and Larson. Get access to Friendo Club TV today by becoming a $5 and up patron at patreon.com/Steve and Larson, by throwing us a sub at twitch.tv/Steve and Larson, or by clicking join at youtube.com/Steve and Larson.